Terri bit the corner of her bottom lip. I have a confession to make. I'm a little afraid of heights. Not tonight, you're not. Gavin stood and pulled her along with him. Because of the lateness of the hour, only a few people strolled the deck. A family of 6 went by, and a couple, arm in arm, stood at the railing overlooking the city. Before they stepped outside, Terri squeezed her eyes shut and stood ramrod straight, refusing to budge. Gavin stood behind her, his pelvis pressed against her bottom and one arm around her midsection. He eased forward and nudged her along with him, out onto the observation deck where cold air greeted them. You're perfectly safe, he murmured in her ear. Her breathing kicked up and she let out a low whimper, but they continued the march forward. This is crazy, she said, a little breathless, eyes still closed. It'll be worth it. You'll love the view from here. I saw it perfectly inside, she retorted. They arrived at the edge, and Gavin placed each of her hands on the cold steel that ran the periphery of the Space Needle. Her fingers immediately curled around the railing. Open, he instructed. Terri peeked through the slits of her eyes and then promptly shut them again. Come on, you're safe. You're on solid ground, and I have my arm around you. Nothing will happen to you while you're with me. She let out a little whimper as she looked at the scenery and leaned back against him. The hand around her waist tightened. Nothing to be afraid of, he murmured. She smelled so good. He ran his nose along her hairline. Terri gripped the railing so tight, he thought she might be able to snap the steel. It's nice. Her eyes spanned the nightscape of the Emerald City. Real nice, isn't it? Yes. She laughed, a hesitant sound, but a laugh nonetheless. A wave of cool air brushed over them, and she shivered slightly. Gavin removed his jacket and draped it over her shoulders, and she turned to look at him, brown eyes sparkling. Thank you. My pleasure. His thumb brushed the hair at her temple. Absolutely beautiful. A sultry expression came into her eyes. Are you talking about the view? Or me? Definitely you, Gavin replied, without a hint of hesitation. The arm circling her waist pulled her tighter against him, compelling her to press into his heated groin. Bringing his mouth closer to hers, Gavin said, I probably shouldn't tell you this, but I looked forward to tonight with a ridiculous amount of anticipation, and I haven't been able to stop looking at you all night. What are you going to do about it? She whispered, tilting her head back. The invitation was unmistakable, and Gavin dipped his head to taste her mouth. Finally, her soft lips yielded to him right away, and the arm circling her waist tightened, pressing her more firmly against him. Gavin deepened the kiss, dragging sweetness from her soft lips, the honeyed caress of mouth to mouth causing desire to swell in his groin. Without thought to the environment or the public spectacle they might make, he marched her backward into the wall, keeping their lips sealed together. Terri kissed him back as if she couldn't get enough, her mouth pliable and intoxicating, generously giving as much as she took. Gavin grabbed a handful of hair and forced her mouth wide, overwhelmed by the need to claim her, to seize every ounce of pleasure offered by the soft curves pressed into his hardening body. He thrust his tongue between her lips, imagining another part of his anatomy sliding into the moist opening. The kiss ended when she tore her mouth from his. Wide-eyed, she stared up at him, breasts heaving in a captivating display of arousal. She must feel it too, the out-of-control desire that overtook his brain and made him want to lift her against the wall to feed the hunger she unleashed with only a kiss.